it is. One way of describing it is, most of us have gotten used to the focus of waiting for a better experience. This one isn't okay, and somewhere we kind of have gotten ourselves just a little bit or a lot waiting, yeah? And it's interesting how that works, yeah? When we're not really here, because we looked last night at the subtlety of what does even being here mean? Because, people says, yeah, well, when I'm really upset, I'm really here. But as we looked at that, we could see when we're really upset, we're not really here, yeah? We're wanting something to be different. So we're here, right? And these habits of wanting to be somewhere else or have it different, because of their nature, because of being habits, we often don't pick up on, we don't notice. They're subtle, they're habitual, we're used to them. So just including the experience that you call your body, because your body is an experience that we looked at last night. Your body is an experience to you. And we looked at last night this, again I would call it a habit of thinking that our experience is us, that it has something to do with us. My contraction, my pain, my experience even. Yeah, your experience is right now, and it's the experience of life, of everything, yeah? So if somebody is not happy in your field, in the world, anyway, you'll feel it in you. And if you think it's you, what happens? You want to get rid of it. Yeah. So, and if there's anything unconscious playing in you, and you think it's you, again, you enter into a way of functioning that's habitual, that has no chance of ever making life sweet and beautiful. As long as that's playing, there'll be suffering, yeah? And just notice what happens to the feeling in the room. Can some of you notice it's changing? Interesting, huh? So one way of looking at it is that the field that we're in has changed. The whole field that we're all in. And that field is generated by focus. Unconscious or conscious. So that's how easy it is to change the dreaming, to change the world we live in. It's just through our focus, yeah? Focusing one way, no matter how intelligent or brilliant our seeing is, when it's through a contracted space, it dreams the contraction into being, yeah? So we don't need to be brilliant. No, if we find ourselves brilliant, no problem. But we don't need to be. Just this subtle noticing, yeah, of focus. Please. The mic.
When you're speaking like that, it sounds as if I can put the focus somewhere. It's always a tricky...
Yeah, that's the difficulty of speaking, yeah? So let's look at it and see. If you're driving to work every day, you're 22, yeah? So you've been driving to work for 5 years or 6, not a long time for you, but for some people they've been driving to work for many years, yeah?
I've actually been driving to work for 10 years.
10 years, okay. Okay.
And stopped now.
Okay, good, yeah. But whatever, just using this as an example. You're driving to work, that's how life moved you, and you find that's what's happening, yeah? Who's doing it? You know, don't need to go into philosophy right now, but that's what happens, is that's what you find your life like that, yeah? And the drive takes you 2 hours. And one day your neighbor who works near you says, listen, can I get a ride? And you say, sure. And you start driving, they say, don't you know there's a 15-minute route? Okay, and you say, no, can't be. I've been doing it 10 years. I looked at the maps, I Googled it, everything. I never saw this. Okay, show me. And the neighbor takes you and shows you. 15 minutes and you're there, yeah? Okay, now, next morning you have to go to work, but the neighbor has his car back, and which way are you going to go? Huh?
Of course, the 15-minute route.
15 minutes away. Now, who's doing it? Does it matter? No. Somehow, something got seen, yeah? So if you have a habit of focus, that's unconscious. Clearly nobody's doing that, yeah? Yes, no? If there's a focus, that's unconscious. Who's doing it? Consciousness, we can say, yeah. Somehow it's happening. We don't know. Now, that habit becomes conscious just by noticing. And you notice as that habit becomes conscious, wow, it's so much sweeter, it's so much more lovely, yeah? Just, wow, my heart just feels overflowing. I feel connected to everything. And it's effortless. No effort is required. Now, who noticed it even? How did noticing happen, yeah?
It's clear now to me. I can see where you're pointing from the other direction.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see it now. And you see, if we go into philosophy about it, it doesn't do it. But when you see it actually, then it makes a difference, yeah? So what we're noticing, here we are. I think most people here have recognized themselves as consciousness. I don't know anyone who hasn't, but we'll see if that becomes clear. Everybody has recognized themselves as conscious. And all of us know that in us there's unconscious patterns playing. And the nature of unconscious patterns is we're not doing them. They're just playing, yeah? Now our habit is to think we're responsible and to think other people are responsible for their unconscious habits. Isn't it? Isn't that what we do? Now what happens if you think you're responsible for an unconscious habit? Shame, blame, guilt. Yeah. Some people call that suffering, yeah?